I'm your instructor. My name is Tyson Robertson. I have a background in art, photography, and digital media. My BFA is from Parsons School of Design, and I have an MFA from New York University. For the past 8 years, I've worked in digital media and content creation. I work with multiple companies to create content for their social media platforms and to sell their products. I've been a freelance photographer and done video work since about 2002. We're beginning Module 1 for Premiere Rush. Premiere Rush is a video editing platform by Adobe. Now, Adobe has other video editing programs as well, so you may confuse it with some of their other programs because they have similar names. Premiere Rush is like their other program, Premiere, but as the name may indicate, with Rush, it's meant to be done a little more on the fly and quickly. This is a platform that's been designed for social media content creators and people that just need to make a lot of videos and do them quickly. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good video editing program. It's actually quite a robust program with a lot of tools for professional video editing and making high quality video content. Coming up next, we'll explain a little bit about how Rush differs from other programs and what you can do with it to import content and create your videos. Next, we're going to talk about how Rush differs from other video editing programs. So, as has already been mentioned, Adobe has a program called Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is a very robust video editing program which has a lot of tools that are great for making wonderful videos. Rush differs from this in that it has many of the same tools and operates in some of the same ways, but is slightly more pared down to be a little more intuitive and to allow you to create your videos very quickly. Another really big advantage that Rush has that some of the other platforms don't have, such as Premiere Pro, is that it's directly connected to exporting for social media platforms. One thing that's really great about Rush that really separates it, however, is that you can sync it with your Adobe Creative Cloud account so that you can work between mobile devices and your desktop computer in a very seamless way. So if you're someone who's shooting content with your phone and you do some quick editing, or you take that content and directly put it onto your computer, but then later want to edit it with your phone, you can go back and forth very natively between those environments. There are other video editing programs out there that work with mobile devices as well, but one of the things that is nice about Rush as opposed to some of the other competitors such as LumaFusion is that it's a part of the Adobe platform, so it works with other Adobe programs such as using PSD files from Photoshop or connecting from even Premiere Rush to Premiere Pro. Next, we're going to talk about how you can start your projects and actually start putting your content in. Now we're going to show you how to start a new project. To start your project, the first thing you're going to need to do is actually open the application. So if you have it downloaded already on your computer or one of your mobile devices, you can go into the Creative Cloud application and launch it. Mine's installed here, so I'm going to go ahead and click Open. And we'll give it just a moment as it opens. And this is going to be the screen that it brings you to when you first open Premiere Rush on your computer. There's a few options listed here. One is Create a New Project, then Help, Learn, and Community. This Create New Project is where we're going to want to go to. So we're going to go ahead and click on this button here. And this brings us to the screen for creating a new project. And this is where we'll kind of set everything up to begin with, to begin our project. Now, one thing that's really nice is they've included some content here already that's sample media for you. So if you're new to the program, you don't have any content quite yet that you want to edit, or you don't have any available at the moment just because you haven't imported it, you can jump right into just doing things with this program right away by using their content. Once you've discovered which content you want to bring in or you want to use their content, the other thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and name your project. This is over here down at the very bottom of the screen. It says project name, and by default, it says untitled. It's a good idea to always make sure that you name your projects right away. Sometimes it's easy to forget that step and just move forward. And I find that that can be an issue because then you have it saved already as an untitled project and you don't want a bunch of miscellaneous untitled projects. Also, as part of a good workflow process, it's a good idea to start getting into knowing how you want to name your projects. As a content creator, if you're making a lot of content, it's a really good idea to have a system in place for how you name your project so that you can easily find the content at a later point. So I'm going to go ahead and name my project Tyson's Movie _practice. And that's going to let me know this is my practice movie that I'm making, and that it's I have the underscore between the movie and practice because I don't want to have any open spaces. I want to have a character in every part of the word. Now, a couple of other things that are going to be important is down here at the very bottom of the screen. Here you can see it says sync with Creative Cloud. And that's already checked by default. This will always be checked by default, so it will only be unchecked if you've gone in and you've manually unchecked that button. In general, you're going to want to leave it checked because what sync with Creative Cloud means is that as you're working on the project, it's syncing it with your Creative Cloud account and saving it to the cloud. That's important for a few reasons. One is so that you can have your project backed up regularly because hard drives crash, computer programs crash, and we lose content if we don't back things up in more than one way. But another reason why it's actually a pretty good idea to leave that checked unless you have a reason not to is that's going to be how you sync this project with your other devices. If you have sync with Creative Cloud checked, then you'll be able to close this program here on your desktop computer and open up your mobile phone or your tablet and be able to continue to edit that project in that space. It also allows you to edit this project in Premiere Pro later, but only if sync with Creative Cloud is checked. If you do copy media, this is going to save a copy of the media to your device. So instead of just having one version of it, it will make an extra copy of it. So this can be a good idea too. It just depends on what your workflow practices are and how you want to save your files and if you need to make an extra copy to another local device. It can be a really good practice as well to have external devices that are installed on your computer so that you can back up to those external drives as well as to the Creative Cloud all at the same time. Again, anyone that works with any kind of mobile device or computing device will tell you that your files and your programs will crash on you regularly, and you can never back things up too many times. Now, after we've added our content and we're ready to start our project, or when we've gotten to the screen here to start our new project, we're going to be ready to start adding content. So before we add content, I'm going to talk a little bit about video resolution and creating content, getting the right kind of content. So now that we've began to start our project, we're going to have to bring in content. In order to bring in content that's going to be good content, we're going to make sure that we understand things like video resolution and how to shoot the content in a proper way. So the first thing is video resolution. You may have heard terms like 4K or 1080p or even 8K, and maybe you don't fully understand what those things are or what they mean. Essentially, these are terms that are referencing the resolution of the video, or in another way to think of it is maybe the quality of the video. We're talking about the pixels that make up these digital videos. So every digital screen has a certain amount of resolution that it can view at, and every thing that comes on that screen has a certain amount of pixels that are made up of it. So if something is said to be 4K, that's about 4,000 pixels is what that's talking about. So the higher the number of pixels, the higher the quality is essentially. And so you might say to yourself, well, if I have a higher number, the quality is always better. So maybe I want to have the highest number possible on everything. And in some respects, that may be true. But the reality is, it's a relationship between the content that you have and the screen that it's being viewed on. So if you have 4K video, but the screen doesn't have the resolution to display that 4K video, then you might not notice a difference. The other concept of that is when you are blowing up the amount of pixels that you have and making the screen a bigger or smaller size, you may not also be able to tell the difference between those pixels. So maybe you have a screen that is a very high resolution screen, but at a very small size. You're not going to notice the difference between 4K and 1080p, etc. So although it is a good idea to record things in the highest quality as possible, later when you're exporting things out, you may want to have a lower quality output because you know that the way that that content is going to be viewed is going to be on lower resolution screens such as mobile devices or things of that nature.